Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be sharing my testimony, which I'm very excited about. About 2 months ago, I made a video talking about Christianity, and a lot of you guys wanted more videos. So if you want more Christian videos, please leave some suggestions down below. Do you want to talk about reading your Bible, about being in a relationship with Christ, anything like that, please let me know. But a couple of you guys actually asked for my testimony, and since I'm about to head off to youth group, I decided today would be a perfect time to do it. But I want to make it pretty quick. I don't like super long testimonies about my life because honestly it's not very interesting, but you guys really wanted it. So just a disclaimer, I know a lot of people start doing testimonies as like, who can have the worst, most hardships in their life? I'm not doing it for that reason, and I understand that I've had an incredibly privileged life. Like hearing some people's testimonies, I cry because I think about, you know, how privileged I am, just where I live and the family that I have and all these kinds of things. So just a disclaimer, but let's start with my parents are both Christians. They're still together, they're still married, and their families are all Christian. So everyone in my immediate family and all my like relatives, everybody is a Christian. We've all been raised Christians. So I'm a generational Christian, which is awesome. I'm very thankful for that. So for me, Christianity was never really a choice. And I say that in the nicest way possible because I'm very thankful of that, because I know a lot of people who had to fight to make the choice to become a Christian, and it was very long and hard for them. But my parents, you know, have raised me as a Christian. I went to private Christian school up until till 6th grade. So for me, it's just been ingrained in my life. And so, long story short, I led a very nice life. Like I didn't really have any problems growing up. You know, like I said, my parents are together. I have 2 sisters, and you know, we all just grew up together, and there were never really any problems. But we hit about the 6th grade mark, and this really intense bullying started happening. Now I know kids will be kids at this age, but when I say intense bullying, this girl was trying to like ruin my life. She wrote stuff on the internet about me. She talked to other people about me. She made me feel physically sick to the point where I didn't want to come to school. And that's a terrible foundation for children to have, you know, especially at the age when you're supposed to be soaking up all this knowledge. I didn't want to go to school. Long story short, all this stuff happened. We went to the principal, and the principal kind of said, you know, kids will be kids. She's really not doing that much. And it was affecting me physically to the point of I had depression at the age of 11 or 12, something like that. And I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to, it was so difficult because when you're at that stage in your life and you're 11 or 12 and you've lived this totally normal life up until this point, and now somebody hates you to the point of this, I was like, I don't know what to do. I have no idea what is going on. So I ended up going to a counselor, and thankfully after about a year of counseling, I felt like, you know, I'm good now. I think you know, when a lot of people for their depression is really different for everybody. You know, some people need medication, some people need counseling. It's really up to the case of depression. But I, you know, thankfully got better, and we decided it was a good idea to move schools since this girl was not leaving. So moved schools to public school. Then I went through 7th and 8th grade just fine. Then it was time for high school. And I want to say to you guys, I think 9th grade of high school was easily the worst year of my entire life. And like I said, I'm not trying to make this like a comparison because I know I'll lose. So many people have stories of like living on the streets and finding Jesus, and those are so cool. Mine is not like that. We get to 9th grade, and I've been friends with some of these people now for 2 years in public school. Well, 9th grade was awful because the people I was friends with were so, it was like you're either really on or really off. They either really like you or they really hate you, or everyone hates you, or one person likes you, or nobody wants to talk to you, and nobody's including you. And it was like so confusing because up until this point I had just had friends. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. At that time in my life, I was having such unstable relationships at school. I was so focused on my social life. All I wanted to do was that, and then I didn't do as well in school. And I'm not talking failed school. I wasn't failing, just like A's and B's. I was so focused on my social life. I was eating hardly anything at all. I was going to school, I had these headaches. I was trying to get this guy to date me. I wanted to be friends with all these people. I didn't care about like my religious life. You know, I still went to church with my parents, but I wasn't worried about those kinds of things, and I didn't really care about it. And I was so wrapped up in all this stuff, and I was so tired because I wasn't eating, and then I was depressed because all these people didn't like me, and I didn't understand what I could do to change it, and I was out of the loop of like my relationship with God, and it was just ugh. And I look back and I look at that girl that I was in 9th grade, and I think, who are you? You know, so long story short, we get through 9th grade, and my mom was like, this was bad. You're not doing this again. And I agreed. I said, I can't do that again. That was terrible. It was awful. You know, the effects mentally that it had on me were terrible. And physically, it was bad for me. I was not eating. You know, and these relationships were so like weird. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. So get to the end of 9th grade, and I was like, all right, I need to go somewhere else. So we started exploring other school opportunities. Well, I didn't tell anyone that I was leaving my school because I didn't feel like I needed to. A lot of the relationships that I left at that school were not good ones. We get to the end of 9th grade, and so we started exploring other opportunities. Well, I found my new school, and it's so funny because it was like 3 weeks before school started. So we were getting to the end of the wire, like never do this. But we went there, and they had a spot for us, and now I look back on it, and it was such a God intervention, because anybody who applies to my school that I'm at right now later than like the end of June gets cut. Like you can't get in because all the spots get so filled. So it was insane that God allowed this to happen, and I got all my classes there. It was insane. So like somehow people at my school, at my old school, started circling around and figuring out that I wasn't coming back. Well, these girls that didn't like me and still don't like me to this day, actually put me in this like group message and started like harassing me and saying all these terrible things to me. And I didn't end up responding, but eventually they actually apologized to me a long ways away. It was a long time ago. They apologized, which I definitely accepted that, and I was very thankful for that. And I'm not mad at any of them. Like, I'm not mad at anything that happened in that situation. I'm mad at myself for allowing a lot of that to happen and not leaving the situation sooner. I definitely should have just left school a lot sooner. And this light just came on. Like, I can't tell you what, like, when I was brought to my knees at the end of that situation, when I was depressed, and I was alone at the end of 9th grade, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I don't know where I'm gonna go to school. I don't know who I'm gonna know. I was so brought to my knees, and I'm so thankful that it happened. You know, like I said, I should have gotten out sooner. I'm thankful I didn't, because the way that that happened in my life, I can see God intervening in so many different ways. You know, and I wanted that relationship with him. When I had nothing else, I wanted that so badly. You know, obviously I still had my family, and I was very thankful for them. They've always been here for me, but I was brought to my knees, and I was like, this is it. Like, God, you've got to work in my life right now, because I feel so alone and helpless, and I need you really bad right now. And you know, that's, like I said, all these doors started opening up, and I'm still at the school that I transferred to. I've been here for 3 years, and it's been an amazing experience. And you know, that doesn't always happen. I don't want you guys to get this idea that God is some kind of robot, and when you ask for something, you're gonna get it instantaneously, because it was a long time. There were months in between where I was still asking God to show me where he wants me and put me where he wants me, and I felt like I wasn't getting a response sometimes. God works the way he works, and his timeline is so much different than ours, and some days it's so hard to believe that and feel that and understand that, but I'm so thankful that it happened the way that it did. You know, it strengthened my relationship. You know, it really brought me to my knees, because again, I had been a Christian. I didn't lose that part of me, but it wasn't something that I was actively pursuing. And what I've learned now is, if you're not actively pursuing your relationship with God, just like any relationship, it's just gonna go away. It's gonna be non-existent. So for me, when that happened, and I realized my social life, people may not like me and people may not agree with me, but I will always have that relationship. I'm thankful that happened. I'm thankful I went through that depressed state, and it was so hard, but it gave me this relationship. It gave me my new school. It gave me more opportunities. I started my YouTube channel because of it. Hey, so you guys are a product of me going through a rough time, and I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, that's pretty much my testimony. If you want anything else outlined down below, I can do it. It was kind of a condensed version. There's a lot of extra stuff in there that I kind of left out, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any more requests, leave them down below. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you back here later.